Hi guys, Shit Show Shelly here. This week I wanted to discuss with you best dating practices. I know what you're thinking. Are you fucking kidding me? Me telling you best dating practices? I've been single for 10 years. But the thing is that in those 10 years, I've done a lot of dating, so I have a lot of experience, okay? So my first bit of advice would be, don't go into this all willy-nilly, okay? Either online dating or dating in general. What I mean by that is just kind of have a plan, like have an idea of what you're looking for. Don't just like decide one night when you're out with your girlfriends and you're all drinking, having a good time, like maybe at the Squire, and you decide that you're going to download Bumble or Tinder and you're going to start swiping, okay? Because I've done it. I've been there, and I will admit it is fucking hysterical. It is probably one of the funnest things to do when you're drinking is to sit there and swipe. But the problem is that later on when you pass out drunk and your girlfriends take your phone and they keep swiping and they're swiping on every motherfucker there is, and then you wake up the next morning and not only do you have a wicked hangover, but you have like every gross guy in a 60-mile radius hitting you up, all in your queue, okay? So I'm just saying it's not the best way to start your Sunday morning, okay? Let's kind of cover the different types of relations, okay? I know that sounds so like, ugh. But it's much different now than it was in our 20s for us 50-year-olds. So what you're gonna find are there's like different categories out there in the dating world. So the first one I'm talking about is a hookup. Okay, it's basically what we would have called a one-night stand back in our day. So it's just someone that you meet online, or even if you met them in person in a bar, and you hit it off, in some shape or form, either physically or, you have some kind of like intellectual connection. You have some kind of chemistry with a person, okay? And you end up going home and you fuck, and that's it. And then the next day they leave and you never hear from them, which you're fine with, hopefully. So that's your typical hookup, your typical one-night stand. They go on their way, you go on your way. We're adults, no harm, no foul. So the second relation or type of category, dating category, is a fuck buddy. Okay, so there's two different types of fuck buddies. I know, we got to do some subcategories. But so the first one is the person who you hook up with and you have like crazy fucking chemistry with, like just physical, it's just sex, okay? And this person you would never introduce to your friends, you would never do anything outside of the bedroom with. Okay, so that's your first category. Your second category is someone that you have hooked up with. They've now become your fuck buddy, but even after you're doing the nasty with them, you're kind of like hanging out with them. You're like chit-chatting in bed and you're going over like their life, they're going over your life. You might even do things outside of the bedroom with them. But yet you know that there's something fundamentally not going to work. You know what I mean? Like relationship wise. So you have to accept the fact. You have to see the writing on the wall and say, okay, this person and I would not work in a relationship, but I like A, B about them, but I don't like C and D. And it's like a deal breaker. But yet you still want to kind of hang out with them. So that's your second category. And another thing, okay, this is important. And I've tried this for years. I still try it. Don't try and turn, like, say, a fuck buddy into someone you're going to date. It's not going to happen, okay? No matter how awesome you think you are or how amazing that connection is, if they're a fuck buddy, you're not going to turn them into someone you're going to date. I've tried. It's not going to happen. So let's recap on fuck buddies, okay? First one, just sex. You're just doing whatever you're doing. You're blowing them, you're fucking them, whatever, okay? Second one, there's something more, but there's not enough for a relationship. That's it. Simple. I try to keep it simple. Third category, dating, okay? So this is different. I mean, back in the day, if you were dating someone, you were dating one person. Nowadays, with all the social media and all the different online apps, you're dating more than one person. It's hard. It's a fucking pain in the ass. It's like a full-time fucking job. So, I mean, you could be dating two guys at the same time. You could be dating three or four guys at the same time. It doesn't mean that you're having sex with every one of them. It just means that you're still playing the field because you don't have that definite feeling, like that tummy feeling, as I would say, with one person yet. And the problem with online dating and all the social media is that you've got these people inundating you constantly. So you're always looking for the bigger, better deal. Most people are. I personally, I'm not. I'm just looking for the person that I click with, and I just haven't found that person yet. So with dating, you could be dating multiple people or you could be dating one person. Okay, so now if you've gotten to the point and you've been dating that one person for like 3 months maybe, that's when you kind of have that conversation like, okay, where are we going with this? But don't do it in the first like 2 or 3 dates. That's just batshit crazy. Like any guy or girl that does that, you fucking run for the fucking hills. Cause it's going to take you a while to kind of get to know someone. They're usually on their best behavior for the first, like 3 or 4 dates. But that's not always true either. But you would think that they would be. So you really got to give it some time before you say, okay, this is it. So one of the many relations that I have found out there is once you kind of start dating someone for a little while, it becomes a little bit more serious. So then you have the talk, and you decide that you want to be exclusive. So that's the next one, is exclusivity. And you just kind of, the two of you have decided, all right, we're going to take our profiles down. We're not going to be looking elsewhere. We're really going to try and give this 110%. Because if you keep your profiles up, what happens is you're still getting inundated, by people. So even though they may not be people that you're interested in, it's kind of taking away your interest from that person. So my thing is I haven't been there very often, but if you get somewhere and you really feel like this person has potential, you want to take your profile down and become exclusive with them. And it could be after 3 dates, it could be after 4 dates, it could be after 3 months. But when you get there, you really want to make that effort and go exclusive. Okay, the next one fucking blew my mind, which that's a lot, okay? So I first encountered this on Tinder. And Tinder's my favorite too, but whatever. Okay, so I first encountered this on Tinder, and I set up a date with this guy. Oh my God, he was so gorgeous, so handsome, the best dresser I've ever seen in my life. I will never see a man who dresses like this ever again. We have a couple of dates. It's kind of awkward. He's like right out of his divorce. I was out of my divorce like maybe 2 years. And he was definitely, I don't think he knew what to do with me. And I'm kind of fucking crazy anyways. So I give him that. And so we had a couple of dates, he kissed me, whatever. And I was like, really? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, step it up, dude. So then come to find out, he gives my number to his buddy. And I was like, what the fuck is that all about? Like, we're trying to start something and you're giving my number to your buddy. I'm not knowing where this is going because I'm dumb. And so his buddy is just hardcore, like, hey, let's get together. Let's do this. And I was like, well, I'm trying to do something with your buddy. He's like, it's no big deal. Let me come down to the Cape and take you out. And he was not taking no for an answer, right? So I was like, all right, whatever. So I go to dinner with this guy, and needless to say, I end up hooking up with him, and he was amazing. So not what I expected, because you looked at him and you would be like, oh, what? You have no game. But he was great, right? So then to come to find out, these two guys are swingers. So they're looking for chicks that they can kind of bring into their little, I don't even know, crazy fucking sex world. And so the one guy who was hardcore trying to get me has this like girlfriend that he sits there and he like loans her out to buddies and she like is with all these guys and they watch, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I could not get past this. I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't share. Like, that to me is just so fucking wrong on so many levels. Like, I could never get past it. And him and I would be hooking up and I'd be like, so when you're with your girlfriend and she's like fucking some guy and you're sitting in a chair, you're okay with that? He's like, yeah, because she's getting off on it and I get off on her getting off on it. And I'm like, what the, like, I almost want to know, is this like something like wired in your head? I couldn't get over it. And I would like end up crying. He'd be like, why are you crying? I'm like, because you're supposed to protect and love her. She's your girlfriend. How can you loan her out to your buddies and watch her fuck just random guys? Like, oh, it still breaks my heart. And I'm not saying that you swingers are bad people. I'm just saying I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, that to me is like my hardest thing. And I still struggle with that to this day when I talk to people who swing. I'm just like, oh my God, I just like, it just breaks my heart. So that's another one. So keep that in mind, folks. Okay, another relation, which I think, it's kind of been out there for years. It was just on the down low for so long, is an open relationship. Okay, so how does that differ from swingers? It differs in that it's an open relationship. So you're in a relationship with one main person, okay? But for whatever reason, the two of you decide that either you need something to spice up your relationship, or maybe one person isn't physically into the other person. For whatever reason, you as a team come up with the fact that, okay, we're going to date other people, we're going to sleep with other people outside of our relationship. And the relationship could be just that, a relationship. It could be a marriage. It could be two people who have lived together in kind of a common law marriage. And you decide one day that, you know what, something's missing and we think we can get it from another partner. And it doesn't mean that both of you have to be. It's just whatever you agree on. And you go out there and you start seeing someone. So I have to be honest, you'll see that on the dating sites. And, of course, I'm always interested. I just want to know what makes people tick. But I don't want to be in that situation because I don't want to have to share. I'm really selfish like that. If I'm in it with someone, then it's just us. But there's plenty of people out there who, will say, I'm in an open relationship, and they'll kind of tell you why. And either you accept it or you don't. So there's no like judgment from me whatsoever. I just personally don't do it. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's another relation out there. Okay. Okay, guys, this brings us to the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. So let's just recap. So we basically talked about the different types of relations that you will encounter online. And they are as follows. You will run into fuck buddies. You'll run into hookups, dating, exclusivity, swingers, and open relationships. At least that's what I've run into in the last 10 years. There may be some other ones out there that I don't know about, and if there are, please send me a comment, let me know what I'm missing, and we'll talk about that as well. So next week, we're going to cover the pros and cons of online dating. Woohoo! There's not a lot of pros, but I still keep doing it because I keep hanging in there thinking that, I'll find my diamond in the rough. But once again, please feel free to comment and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. All right, take care. As always, Shit Show Shelly, dating made funny.